someone was trying to ask me, someone was trying to ask me which interracial relationship lasts, which interracial relationships last long and why. I'm going to explain this in detail. There is a reason which the reason between I mean the reason between the difference, or which interracial relationships last long and why, is simply due to the historical facts. Okay, due to the historical facts, you need to understand that black women and black women and black women and white men's relationship lasts longer. Why? Because it is the least attacked relationship. Plus, there is a history of why black women and white men's relationships last so long. This is obviously through the history. You know what I'm saying? Historically, black females and Caucasian or white men had almost 500 years of interbreeding. Black men, white ladies relationship were forbidden. They were strictly forbidden. Only relationship which was permitted was only white men and black women. You see what I'm saying? So there is a history of why black women and the white men's relationships last longer, and the relationship between the relationship it's in a historical, or sort of like a historical matter. Black men and white women's relationship is the most attacked relationship on earth, and these are the relationship which has never been. Most of these type of relationship, black men and white women's relationship, are very recently. Most of them are pretty much 4 or 5 decades. That the shortest since they started. That the shortest relationship which is started, because they've just been pretty much of 4 or 5 decades. You see, majority of black men who have dated white women, pretty much it's very recent. That's what I'm saying. It's pretty much 4 or 5 decades ago. Prior to that, it was only one black man dating a white lady, one in a blue moon, or 1 in 5 million black men. While a lot of Caucasian men had access to black women since 1400. Since landing in Africa, a lot of white men had had experience of dealing with the black white women. Most white women are discouraged from dating black men globally. Pretty much they're discouraged, but there is no discouragement of anything between black women and white men. In fact, historically, you need to understand this from a historical factor, that Caucasian men, when they went to Africa, they had access to black female of all types. And remember the colonization of Africa. They were in charge of Africa. They would definitely get pretty much any black female they like, long before even black men knew what was a white lady. Most black men who date white women is just it's a recent thing, which is actually recently promoted. It's being promoted recently. But black men, like in America, these were crimes. You look at South Africa. Black men were not even allowed to date white women until 2010. You know what I'm saying? So you can tell the difference. It's only a historical factor. Number one, you need to understand that black women, you need to understand this from a historical factor. Black women have been trained, historically. Black women have been trained to be with white men. They've been conditioned for white men. They've been trained to be white men. Remember, they've been cooks of white men. They've been baby makers of white men. They've been baby breeders of white men. They've been child minders of white men. They've been cooks of white men. So a black woman has been systematically pretty much processed and cultured, tailored for Caucasian men. A black woman is sort of like customarily made for for the white man. That's not the case for Caucasian women. You know what I'm saying? So if you look at this thing from a historical factor, you notice that a black woman has been customarily tailored. Black females have been customarily centered to please white men. This is a sort of like black women have been actually bred to. They've been processed, trained, cultured, conditioned, mostly to please Caucasian men, which on a historical factor, on a global scale, not only in Africa, through slavery to the Caribbeans, to America, to South America, slave plantation, all this time, black women have been customarily cultured to be the pleasing, pleasure, sort of like pleasure dolls of white men. To be pleased, a black woman has been sort of like genetically modified to please Caucasian white men. Historically, that's correct. That's correct. That has never happened to white women. For white women, they don't even know. You know what I'm saying? The bulk of Europe, I would say 98% of white women have never even had contact with black men. You see what I'm saying? While it's Caucasian men, there is no land where they never accessed the black women. On earth, there is no land at all where they didn't access a black woman. That's why I say historically you need to know where things started. When Europeans came to Africa, European men, they didn't bring white women, so they did the first contact with the black female back in Africa, and they had access to breeding with every kind of black woman. Years, decades before even they brought white women there. Before even they brought white women into America, they'd already, black female sexual concubines over there. Black women were cooks, child minders. A black woman's job was to take care of a white man's house, white man's children, also breeding and making slaves for Caucasian men and all these. So the process is that a black woman has been customarily made for Caucasian men. They were bred to please. Mostly that was the job of a black woman. Black women were sort of like a genetically modified to please Caucasian men. That has never been white women. White women had never been trained like that. Ain't no white woman is trained has ever been trained. Most white women, like I said, 98% of them had no contact with black men whatsoever. Besides what you see recently through things like immigration and going to Europe, or some people go in America who are accessing white women now. This is recent thing. You see what I'm saying? That's why I say if you're looking at this thing, you need to look at this thing on a global scale. What was taking place, what had happened to black people, why it's the way it is. It's because of the history. You see what I'm saying? That the black females and white men has got a longer history of breeding, which is not the case for black men with white women. It's not the case at all. The bulk of Africa, almost 99% of black men in Africa, I would say 99% of black men in Africa had never ever had contact with a Caucasian female. 99.9% of African men in Africa had never ever had contact with white women. Some had never even see them. Pretty much 70% had never even sit close to a Caucasian person. Pretty much 80% of Africans. So but at the same time, a lot of African countries were under Europeans, and almost every Caucasian man who has been in Africa, they had a lot of access to black females. So you have to look at this thing from a context. So a lot of men were asking me, why is there a difference between... You need to understand that again, there's a lot. Number one, there is also racism. Black men face a lot of racist attacks. A white woman dating black men, they face attacks within their own family members. That are disowned, that are treated more. White women face the same. It's sort of like white women face the same struggle black men face. There is no struggle of a white man. If you ever look at throughout the history, how many white men have been breeding with black women throughout the history, slave plantation throughout the history. Hundreds of millions of white men have been breeding with the black women, accessing black women sexually at any time throughout the history. And at the same time, they never wanted to see Caucasian females with black men. They never. That was, they even discouraged, not even want to see. You see, but at the same time they promote the black females and Caucasian men. So if you look at it from a historical point of view, this is why I say white women dating black men. It has never ever been the case throughout the history. You know what I'm saying? And white women who date black men, they're attacked. They're attacked with their family members. They're attacked with their friendship. They're attacked almost all corners. White women face the same struggle black men face, but the Caucasian men, they don't face anything. White men have never faced anything, even from white women. A lot of even if you look at it from the context of slavery, a lot of white men knew that their husbands were breeding with black female slaves. They knew it. But have you ever seen a Caucasian, have you ever seen a white man being attacked or harassed by a white woman for breeding with black females? Throughout the history, they've never been. Pretty much white women have remained silent, despite them knowing what was happening, that their husbands were breeding with these black female slaves. Most Caucasian men have never faced any tiny thing from a Caucasian woman. This is pretty much the biggest sort of like a miracle, is that Caucasian men have never faced any rebellious or any form of dislike from white men for breeding with black women. Throughout the history, white women have remained silent. Shockingly silent. You understand me? I've never seen a white woman getting mad of seeing a white man with a black woman. I've never seen a white woman getting mad at all. I've never seen one. Not even a single one. It's shocking that white women, how silent they are, given the fact that black men are attacked. Both sides were attacked with white men as well as black women for even dating a white lady. Were attacked both sides. But guess what? White men have never ever been attacked by anybody for breeding with the black woman. Zero. You see what I mean? They face zero, not from a white woman, not from anybody. Pretty much a black woman is walkover. So historically they've never had any barrier. You know what I'm saying? These are some of the conditions why you see black men and white women relationship. Most of the time these relationships are short. Why? Because they're the most attacked. While it's the black female and Caucasian white men, this relationship lasts longer because this relationship has got history. The history for black men, white women is the most attacked, while it's this relationship between Caucasian white men and black women is no attacked at all. For 500 years, they had to pretty much practice breeding for 500 years before a black man was allowed to date a white woman. A black woman and a Caucasian men have got 500 years ahead already. They've got 500 years ahead. 1400s to 2018. They've got 500 years already. They've already 500 years already. Even if you count Arabs and the African females in North Africa, they've got more than 2,000 years already. The only thing is that black males were never allowed. They were never allowed. Globally, they were never allowed. You see what I'm saying? And the relationship of black men dating other races is the most attacked. It's the most attacked relationship. It's black men. We're attacked everywhere. Most of the time when a black man is dating a white lady, even in Europe or anywhere they face threats. Their life is at risk. You see, that's why majority of black men tend to date white women knowing these relationships are not going anywhere. So they tend to date white women mostly for pleasure. Most black men, they go for white women because there's easy sex, quick and pleasure, because they're well aware that this relationship is attacked. A lot of black men are well aware because they have to judge by the way they live. You see, the way we live, that our relationship, when a black man is dating a white lady, they're well aware these relationships are attacked. They're well aware that within a white woman's family, she's going to be attacked by her family members, she's going to be disowned by her father. So a lot of black men date white women already knowing that this relationship is the most attacked and there's a lot of barriers put on. While it's completely a white man, there's no barrier on a black woman. There is no black family which has got any obstacle for a white man. They can come in and out as they go. When a white man is dating a black woman, they can come in and out as they go, as they please. Pretty much, there's no attack, there's no condition, there's no barrier. Pretty much, historical since 1400, there's never been a barrier. That's why even a Caucasian man can say, I can. There was a white guy who was saying, well, I wish I was in Africa. I could impregnate over 20,000 black women if I like. And he's right. Most of those relationships are not. They have no barrier. You see what I'm saying? Black men dating Caucasian women, Caucasian white ladies. That's where the barrier is, and that's where a lot of threats are. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of black men fear even that when they're dealing with Caucasian female, false accusation and things of that nature, which doesn't exist within black women. You see, black women pretty much historically, they have been trained to tailor to a white man, which to us, white women have never been trained. They don't have that history. Most of white women, they're just, they're just starting. You see, a lot of this is why even white women themselves, they fear a lot. They fear. Why? While it's the black female, white women, they've got 400 years ahead already of practicing. While it's for black men, this relationship face the biggest attack. The most attack. These relationships are discouraged everywhere. White women are disowned in the media. You date every time you see, even if you look at the media, whose relationships are promoted? It's mostly black female, white men. They never promote black men, white women. No. These relationships are mostly attacked, and a lot of black men know that. Even if you date a white woman, she'll tell you straight out, my family members, they don't like my this. She will actually claim it. White women don't lie. White women will tell you straight out the truth. Black women are more likely to be liars than white women. White women, they tell you straight out at home. They tell you, Dad is like this. My daddy will be mad. My other brothers will be this and this. White women, they lay it straight out. You see, and most black men, they're well aware. It's true. They're well aware that their relationship, every time when they're dealing with the Caucasian female, their relationship will be attacked, scrutinized, everything, they will be attacked. While it's for black females, most black females that are raised in single household, where pretty much there's a mother only. And also, you need to understand that historically, black females have been trained to take care of Caucasian men's children, white men's household, washing for white males. A black woman has been genetically modified to take care of white men. This is throughout their history. You see, so there is no match between Caucasian men, Caucasian men and the black women's relationship, and the black men dating white women. There is no match, because the white men and black women had almost 500 years to practice interbreeding for 500 years, and by then the black women have been trained to please Caucasian men. They've been trained, they've been tailored, they've been customarily centered to please Caucasian men, which is not the case for white women. You see, no white woman has a history with black men. Even in Europe, 90% of Europeans, they've never had contact with black men at all. But that's not the case. If you look at any African land, every place where there is a black woman, Europe or Caucasian men have landed there. Any country where there is a black person, Caucasian, or where there is black females, Caucasian men have landed there. They've landed there and interbred. But that's not the case for white women. That's not the case at all. So that's why I say these things, you need to look at these things from a historical context. You know what I'm saying? And black men dating white women, these relationships are attacked both sides. They're discouraged, they're attacked. We face a lot of scrutiny. That's why a lot of black men, when they're dating white women, they are well aware that this relationship face a lot of strain. Very strain, and so many barriers which doesn't exist to white men, black women relationship. It doesn't exist. But for black men, sometimes you are short on the police. You see, being with a good-looking white woman, you face a lot of attack. These relationships historically have been discouraged. They're just recently starting, but they've been discouraged. Sadly, a lot of black men are wary that this relationship will face almost a constant attack, constantly. So that's why most black men tend to date white women specifically for easy access and easy come, easy go. They would rather say, well, let me specialize on getting what I want sexually, and where if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So they date pretty much knowing that the relationship is based on pretty much sex and no string attached. Because we are well aware, a lot of black men are well aware that these relationships face a lot of attacks. Black men dating white women, these relationships face a lot of attacks. So black men, when they're dating white women, they're well aware that it's better to get easy come, easy go. Go for an easy Caucasian woman, knowing that you get your pleasure for 2 or 3 years, it's out. Or 4 or 5 months, you're out. 6 months, you're out. Because we are well aware this relationship will be attacked throughout. Black men dating Caucasian women, their relationship will be attacked throughout, pretty much in daily basis. That's not the case. The same for Caucasian men and black women. Pretty much these black women, white men, this relationship is no attack. It's sort of like a double standard. Interracial relationship and double standard. You know what I'm saying. You'd never, because obviously, a lot of white men, they own media in America there, so they know, they promote certain type, they promote their own relationship, white men with black women. They discourage white women from dating black men at the same time. And a lot of black men know that nowadays. They just go for white women specifically for easy sex. That go for cheaper, much easy sex, and you're out. Because they're well aware of the barriers and the problems, which, if you are to think in a long-term type thing, what you are going to face, that mentality discouraged black men from, to those black men who are going towards this relationship, most of them are well aware these relationships are not long-term based. Because they are well aware, the way you are living and the what you are going to go through, what to sustain this type of relationship. Is it worth it to do that? Most black men know that if you are going for sex or no string attached, then that's a go. I would do the same thing. You see what I'm saying? When I'm dating a Caucasian woman, I date them usually thinking in the same. I date a Caucasian woman thinking and knowing at the same time that it's a sex and no string attached. I've never ever, because I had 3 white girlfriends. Every time I date them, no matter how hot they are or how they look, deep down in my mind, I'll be knowing it's sex and no string attached. Because I know what I will face. I'm not prepared to go through headaches of thinking their family members and what are they gonna think, what are they in the street and everything. Well, I'm not gonna go through that. That's why this relationship tends to be short. You know what I'm saying? Especially like in America, you face racism, you walk with a white girl, you have got a cop following you, you've got this. So these relationships are the most attacked. It's a black man dating white women relation. These are the most attacked. While it's a black woman, on the other hand, she has been customarily tailored to please white men. History, throughout the history, for 400 years. So there's no comparison. Pretty much there's no comparison. You know what I'm saying? Black women have been taking care of white men's household, washing their plates, taking care of white children, babies, babysitting. Everywhere, not only in America, throughout the Caribbean, South America, Africa, black women have been customarily tailored to please white men. Not just the household at home, sexual concubines. There were sexual concubines throughout the history, almost 500 years. Before a white woman was allowed to date black women had almost 500 years. You saw them. So they are way ahead of black men. For black men, most black men, we know already that our relationship when we are dealing with Caucasian women is going to be attacked. It's going to be attacked both sides. So a lot of black men obviously know that, when you are in this type of relationship, it's sort of like you're dodging the bullets every day, on a daily basis. So that is just what I wanted to mention for now. I know there is a lot of reasons, and black women at the same time, number one, mixed children are not glorified in white families, but in black families, particularly among black females, there is this glorification of wanting a mixed baby, which has been part of slavery, but now it's self-induced. A lot of black women have got that mentality, that thirsty to be, to have a mixed baby. While for white women, a mixed baby is not valid. It's a white, sort of like I don't want to say white supremacy, but white people in general, they prefer white kids. You know what I'm saying? And the black women, majority of them prefer mixed children. You see what I'm saying? So there is always a black woman's lust and towards a white males, particularly with the aim of producing a biracial baby. Mostly it's within black females. You see what I'm saying? While it's a white woman, ain't no white woman is obsessed with making a biracial child, because within their families they would promote completely white women to have white babies. So you have got black women who naturally are obsessed with having mixed babies, of which in their mindset, in their sort of like the illusion, I'm having a beautiful baby, blah blah blah. You know how black women are, you know. But at the same time, that's not the case for white women. I've went into Italy, to countries like Italy and Spain. They give up mixed children. I've seen a lot of mixed children in adoption, being put for adoption in many European countries from white women. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a mixed kid. It's nothing for white people, but it's very valued within black women. That's why black women's lust and need to be with the Caucasian men is much higher, while it's for white women that's not the case. A white woman doesn't go to a black man because she's aiming a mixed kid. Ain't no white woman care much about a mixed kid. Even white men don't give a shit about a mixed kid. They don't value that. Besides sex with a black woman, a mixed kid is just nothing. It's nothing to them. White people don't give a shit about a mixed kid. It's nothing to them, because white supremacy, obviously they promote whiteness. So a mixed kid is no value pretty much in white societies. You know what I'm saying? But it's higher valued with black societies, particularly with the black women. For black men dating a white woman, black men don't give birth, so it will remain with white woman anyway. So these are some of the reasons I just mentioned. You know what I'm saying? So just to mention a little bit, this was one of the reasons. These are just some of the few. There are many of them, but this is just me giving you a reason why black women and white men's relationship lasts longer. It's because it's the least attacked, and this relationship has got a historical legacy, and almost over 500 years of interbreeding between white men and black women. While it's for black men dealing with white women, this relationship is almost 2 or 3 decades, almost maximum maybe 5 decades. It's very short, and mostly it's sort of like it's very short. And most black men, when they're going with the white women, they're well aware it's mostly easy sex. Most black men, it's easy sex. They don't have long string attached to it now. You know what I'm saying? Because white women are kind of beautiful. They've got bigger booties and bigger nice stuff, and they can handle the ability to deal with with black men's stuff. So easy come, easy go, if you know what I mean. But just to mention that's what I wanted to say, that black men, when they're dealing with white women, most of them, they know it's short term. They go for easy sex. White women are not a problem when they're dealing with them sexually. They don't give shenanigans. So at least they, black men know what they're getting when they're dealing with white women, that it's not long term. It's mostly sort of like a sex, no string attached when they're dealing with white women know that. Most white women who come to black men, they come to black men for the same reason. They come to black men specifically for sexual reasons. Most of them, they come for sexual reasons. They know, because they are well aware that they will be attacked within their own family members. So when they're coming to black men, it's mostly for sex and pleasure. If white women know, they come to black men for sex and pleasure. Sex, pleasure, and fun. And most black men, it's the same thing. There's no long-term thing. Mostly long-term mentality is between black women and white men. For black men dating white women, we are well aware of what we want. Sex and no string attached. And most white women come for sex, fun, and pleasure when they're dealing with black men. It's specific. They talk about mandingo, huge things, BBC, whatever. They talk of this, which is obviously clear. That's what they want. Clear. It's not even a secret. It's what they're centered for. Ain't no white woman comes to a black man thinking, we are going to live happily after. If that was their mentality, they would go to a white man. because they know that black men are attacked. Black men, we are the most attacked men on earth. So, and the white women, most of them, they are well aware of it. So if they're coming to a black man, a man whom they know is the most attacked on earth, what do? They're well aware that they come for pleasures and things of that nature. And black men are now, we already know that they come for pleasure. It's not a secret, it's something they come for, black men, specifically for sex and pleasure. And we know that's the same thing, we give it to them. And we go to them specifically for hot sex and easy sex and pleasure, the same thing. You know, because our relationship is attacked, so there's no need to think of a long-term type shit mentality when you know that there's a lot of barriers put, which is not the case for a black woman, okay, and a white man. So I just want to mention just a few. So anyway, it's just the case for now. I'll do another video later. You can subscribe if you want, you know, and I'll put more videos. Cheers for now, nigga.